Well, here's where we're at this point. The home is considered a total loss. No one was believed to be inside or even living there because the people who owned it had just moved out earlier in the week. So right now, there are just a few firefighters remaining on the scene. Aaron, we just moved about a mile down the road, and twice within that 1 mile, we ran into a couple different herds of deer. Luckily, we saw them ahead of time. We kept an eye on where the first deer came from. It's been a waiting game for Clark because the storm essentially parked itself over the Bahamas. If you want to skip things like removing your laptop from your backpack, Willard Airport officials say that you should sign up for TSA pre-check. That cool breeze that we're enjoying is actually creating issues for the pilots. Police are now going to buildings in the area, hoping that security cameras may have caught the moment. Exits are key. Firefighters say it's a good reminder when you're at work to check for at least 2 ways in and out of each room. Getting crews out here to remove that tree is pretty urgent because right now, this lies in her path to work. If it weren't for the car lights from our own station car, you wouldn't be able to see this road behind me. They say they're trying to stop rumors and fear from growing in the community, so today's message is positive, but they're worried that the message of support isn't reaching the people who need to hear it the most.
The police department doesn't concern itself with immigration status. We don't enforce immigration status.
Champaign's Deputy Police Chief David Schaefer wants to make it clear the department should be considered a resource for all.
We want everyone in this community to be able to trust the police and feel that we're a resource for anyone in this community if you need help.
Mayor Deb Finan says she's concerned about what's happening on a national level, but trying to focus on helping people on a local one. She says as the 2020 census approaches, she wants immigrants to feel safe coming forward.
It's really important for everyone to be counted because cities get dollars from the federal government based on the number of people here. So people need to know that they can step up and be counted and that they're not putting themselves or their families in jeopardy.
One of the city's partners is the New Americans Welcome Center at the YMCA. Its director, Gloria Yen, says she hopes announcements like these will help address fear in the community.
A lot of anxiety around, is federal immigration enforcement going to be coming into our community, and what does that mean, and how do we need to prepare in order to really make sure that individuals and families are really fully informed of their different rights and ready to protect themselves and prepare their families in that case.
Tom Garza, the president of the CU Immigration Forum, says he's glad to hear about Champaign's statement, but he's worried it's not reaching everyone who needs to hear it.
Well, the problem is that a lot of new immigrants are language challenged, so they don't watch stations like this one because they don't understand what's going on.
The city does have translations for its statements, but Garza points out that in some countries, the line between local and federal authorities is blurred, so people might not realize that local police in Champaign are supposed to help them. He says the best way to build trust is by showing up to community events. Back to you. Only 5 clinical facilities in the country have a 7 Tesla or 7T MRI scanner. Now, after U of I's Board of Trustees voted today, Carl and the university are about to build the 6th of its kind.
This has been a long time coming for us. We're incredibly excited for what this means for the community at the University of Illinois.
A collaboration between Carl and the Beckman Institute has been given the green light. Dr. Tracy Wazalik, the director of the Institute's Biomedical Imaging Center, says the new 7T MRI will advance critical research on brain abnormalities.
We're hoping the biggest thing that I think this kind of resolution and this kind of technology will allow us is to be able to make a diagnosis much earlier.
The new MRI will look the same on the outside, but it's what's on the inside that changes the game.
It's a stronger magnet, so it gives you better resolution, takes a better picture.
The 7 Tesla will be phenomenal images, meaning we can see smaller and smaller and smaller structures, and it will be the only one in Illinois.
At Carl, neurologist Graham Huseman says the equipment will help people with epilepsy.
In epilepsy, about a quarter of the people don't respond to any medications, and then we start thinking about looking for surgical options, taking out the part of the brain where the seizures are coming from. And the tricky part about that is finding which part of the brain.
Huseman says 1 in 22 people will be diagnosed with epilepsy.
The most devastating part about having epilepsy is really the unpredictability of it. If you have a seizure more frequent than every 6 months, you can't drive. That really limits what you can do, especially if you live in a rural area.
He says he's already taking calls from hospitals throughout the state asking to use the MRI for patients with seizures.
There's excitement not just here, but also in the whole state for this machine.
The new MRI scanner is so big that it has to be built within its space. It could take up to 18 months until it's completed.
What do you want? Coffee, please.
Classes at Salt Fork High School may not start until 8:15 each morning, but starting at 7:45 once a week, students throw on their aprons and sell coffee. Marcy Taylor is the special education teacher. This is the third week she's helped her students run a coffee shop.
It's important to have something like this outside of the classroom.
Scotty Dean says this is his first year at the coffee shop, so I asked him what he's learning.
Walk.
And why he likes it so much.
Help my friends out. Pumpkin spice.
Okay, I'll do that. In October, he's selling coffee with pumpkin spice, their flavor of the month. And each coffee costs just $1, but the lessons learned are invaluable.
They are learning communication skills with the customers, which are mostly students that they go to school with, and teachers. They're also learning money skills, making change when customers come and get the coffee.
Every purchase and every pour teaching those skills. And some lessons, as is often the case in the real world, are a bit unexpected.
The second machine that we use is right over there next to the microwave. We use that one to make hot chocolate and coffee because last week the first machine had broke.
Taylor hopes the coffee shop will run for years to come, but for now, her student dean has one message for any friends who get to school a little early.
Come here, get coffee,
and give back.
Thank you, Scotty. Have a good day.
Have a nice day.
In Catlin, Jen Lask, WCIA 3, your local news leader. They'd been gathering dust in storage, but as that space is torn down, Monticello's athletic department came up with an idea to make sure they wouldn't just become a footnote in the school's yearbooks. Players, coaches, and managers alike all raced to Monticello High School's cafeteria.
My wife and I were the first ones in here.
Hoping to score the hardware they'd already earned.
I saw this one, and it said the holiday tournament in 1959. I had to have it.
The district had been storing them in the old Washington school.
So many times these trophies just get put away or thrown into dumpsters.
But as the school is torn down, the athletic department wanted to make sure the trophies found new homes.
These trophies are going to go in there on the shelf where they can be seen.
Age, giving the trophies a bit of rust and the people a bit of perspective.
The second place trophy, at the time I probably didn't even want to pick that trophy up that night, but today it means a little bit more to me.
And whether the trophies were won decades ago or just months ago.
Oh, it's crazy. I didn't realize there were so many from past years.
Their new owners are leaving high school as champions once again. The athletic director thinks roughly 600 trophies were brought out to be given away, the oldest dating back to the 1930s. The school also uncovered a trophy from 1927, but it plans to keep that one on display. The district is looking to upgrade several parts of Spalding Park, and now they're passing the ball to the state and hoping for a win.
You gotta speak into that. Say hello.
Ava Butler is almost 2 years old.
Say hello.
But she's not quite ready to be a grown-up.
Or do you want to give it back?
Instead, she wants to spend her days playing at Spalding Park with her dad.
Look, this is one of the parks I grew up into, so.
The park's playground is older than Ava, but it could be getting an upgrade soon. The Champaign Park District has applied for a $350,000 open space land acquisition and development grant from Illinois. The district's director of planning, Andrew Weiss, says it's a way to maximize potential.
Anyone in, any government agency in Illinois can apply for the OSLAD grant, so it's a 50% match, and so that just helps local communities make their tax money go further.
Weiss says the grant could go towards several projects in the park.
I'd say about a third of that plus or minus about a third of it is going to the pathways, and then there's a lot of money going towards the lighting. Then the playground is another $100,000.
With a little help from the state, the playground might get to grow up right alongside Ava.
Love to have fun.
Weiss told me the Park District won't know until later this winter if it's in the running for the grant. The district will find out for sure by April 2020 if it gets one.